Good evening, race fans. Welcome to NAGP TV. GT1, Thursday night racing. This round is we're off to Spa-Francorchamps in Belgium. Nighttime qualifying, GT1. We're going to be running an hour and a half tonight, 36 laps. Got a lot of stuff happening tonight. We have got a pile of new drivers we're going to introduce you to tonight. So as we run down the new drivers that are joining us, let's join and run around with Mr. Parsons in the McLaren F1. New drivers, welcome to Fred Pizzotti. Fred's racing out of Rio de Janeiro. He's going to be driving a C5, I believe. Randy Chenworth out of San Diego in the Viper. Dan Wilkerson out of New Jersey in the Viper. Ryan Schleif out of New Jersey running that big-ass Aston Martin. Matt Taylor from Iowa in the Ferrari F40. And John Luden in the number 08 in the Zonda. Welcome. Now, any of you guys want to get on the action? Come on in. We'll take all comers to North America's finest sim racing league, NAGP. We're running Mondays, Thursdays, GT2 on Mondays, GT1 on Thursdays. So, grab a wheel, get part of the action. We've got qualifying coming on here, and these guys look like they're set to burn up the track. It is going to be a barn burner tonight. There's a pile of drivers out there. We've got over 30 of them. Last week was a great race. In fact, we had absolutely no penalties, which is great to see. Not like the GT2 Monday night race, which was a bit of a fiasco. All sorts of carnage. An unmitigated disaster and a schmozzle on the first lap. So, as we... Whoa! Big wobble bobble there from Mr. Parsons. Maybe trying to generate a bit of heat in his tires. Even though we have no penalty, so we got no penalty weight, but we do have success ballast weight and new drivers carrying the weight. So, David Poole is going to be carrying 88 pounds. Andre Pareto carrying 66. Rich Roman carrying 66. John Luden with 88. Brad Maris with 44, Ryan Schleif with 88, Randy Chenworth with 88, and Dan Wilkerson with 88 as well. Spa, historic track. Everybody loves it. Kenny. There's, up on the chat board is Ken. Great to see you up there, Ken. I'll tell you what, if you can, grab an open car, and in quali session 2, you can join on up, and when you do, Mr. Moses will put you up in the broadcast booth. And that was our little surprise for you tonight. We are going to have Ken Hot Rodriguez join us in the broadcast booth if we can overcome the technical difficulties. So, he looks like he may be having some technical issues, but hopefully we can get him up here. Give it a try, Ken. See if you can make us up here in the quali 2, and we'll get you up in the booth. Chris will fire you into the broadcast booth as soon as you can. Man, I was really looking forward to having you up here. Hopefully we can get you in quali 2, and you can join me up here in the booth, because I think tonight is going to be a barn burner. The man himself, Chris Moses, has said to watch him tonight. He is going out for blood. He had a terrible race last Monday, but he's going out for the win tonight. All right, Ken, give it a try. Let's try and get you up here. As we'll watch Mr. Parsons' nighttime qualifying here at Spa. Looking for some great lap times around here, although they will be a little bit off, being in the dark. Into the bus stop as Mr. Parsons heads on down to La Source. Currently in P19, but watch for an improvement there. P1. No big surprise to me. And as he motors up through Eau Rouge, going to be lots of action there at Eau Rouge. Let's just jump back to leaderboard and take a quick look and see how they're stacking up. Mr. Parsons with a 2:10. Alex White, very fast. Alex White was in the pre-race practice as well. Alex White driving the C6, I believe, tonight. Let's just, we can jump on board and verify that. Alex White has teamed up with Mr. Lou Mascarelli, so we've got the White Lightning and Liquid Lou Mascarelli teaming up to form a new team in GT1. So, Parsons, White, Jolicoeur, Prado, Canavan, Roman, and Moses down in P7. Sportelli 8th. Marty, you ran in 9th, and Juan Monroy just dropped to 11th. Big Al in 12th. So we'll keep an eye on the action here. Now, in the driver standings, we might as well run through that while these guys are sorting out their qualifying. In the driver standings in GT1, Rich Roman is leading the way with 68 points. Brad Maris with 64. David Poole with 58. Mr. Parsons with 44. Andre Prado with 44. Greg Myers with 38. Juan Monroy with 36. Alex White with 34. Sportelli with 30. And Chris Moses with 29. So that is turning out to be quite the heated battle there from 1st to 5th. 44 to 68 points. Not much of a spread there. Anything can happen. In the team championship, though, it is a different story. Anger Racing, Brad Marison, Andre Prieto, 134 points. 50 points out in front of H&C Racing, Rich Roman and Andre Cole. T. Broke Dam Bam, Aaron Parsons and Greg Myers with 82 points, and 05 Motorsports, David Poole and Mr. Werner with 73. PMR, Chris Moses and Al Merriman with 44, and GM Racing with Johnny McIntyre and Gupper Douglas with 40 points. SJRT Columbia, Juan Monroy and Sergio Calderon with 39 points. So, Anger Management is, Anger Racing has done a great job at finishing both their cars up in the points, and boy oh boy, they are a team to watch. A lot of fun watching these two guys, and they've been a team for quite a while, so I like watching these two guys. They do well. Of course, Brad Maris is one of our driving instructors. Any of you guys out there need some help, improve your driving skills, you get with Brad or any one of the other instructors. Greg Myers is another one. They'd be more than happy to get on track with you and get you sorted out. So there's your driver standings and your team standings for the GT1. Tonight we're going to do a little bit of race feature. Two of the guys that we should all give a nod to, Chris Moses and Al Merriman. Tireless, these two guys at putting this league together and putting their races on. Can't say enough about these two guys. They do a great job. Have no idea how Chris goes out and sets the races up and gets the grid set and does all the work and still manages to get out and race the wheels off his car. And Big Al, thanks to you for letting us run this league and participate. And I just want to make note that NAGP is fully funded by donations. So You like what you see, you like what we do, you like driving here, dig into your pockets, throw us a few bucks, doesn't cost a lot, and keep the wheels turning. So, we'll just run down Prado in 7th. Our lucky leprechaun, David Canavan, racing out of Ireland in 8th. John Sportelli, out of New York State in 10th. Greg Myers, Mr. Smooth in 11th. Rich Roman in 12th. Marco Conti up to 13th. Good going on Marco. He has really shown some great speed and had maybe some bad luck, but hopefully we'll get Marco up in these top 10 standings. Marty Uren, our senior statesman, running out of California in P14. Gup Douglas in P16. Johnny McIntyre in 17. Gup and McIntyre, part of that GM racing team. Laurent Weisman, the Flying Frenchman in P18, running that Nissan. Juan Monroy in P19. Juan running the Ferrari 550. John Wathen in P20. John Luton in P21. Get her out of the garage, John. Get a couple more hot laps in. Big Al Merriman in P22. Christian Hamilton in P23. Andre Cole in P24. Mikey Graytrix in P25. Thomas Schubeck in P26. And Ryan Schleif in P27 in the Big Aston. Sergio Calderon in P28. And Liquid Lou Mascarelli in P29. Randy Chenworth in P30 with Andrew Werner in 31st. Daniel Wilkerson in P32. And Jacob Carpati in P33. Paul Hall hooking up with Marco Conti in the Lambo. And Jean-Yves Sampson in the Porsche. Sam Rolfe. Sam Rolfe in the Ferrari 550, one half Rolf Spark Racing with John Sportelli. There I am, just parking the car, taking it easy while qualifying winds down. Let's jump over the leaderboard and see where we are. Parsons with about 2/100ths of a second lead over Chris Moses. Look how tight that is, folks. 1, 2, 3, 2:10.3 to 2:10.7. Couldn't get much closer than that. And then another 5 drivers stacked up in the 2:11s. And a whole boatload of drivers, about 10 of them, in the 2:12s. It is going to be close racing here. I figured we might even see a sub 210. We've got great conditions, 73 degrees, a dry track, ambient of 58. It does look good. Be interesting to see if these guys can crack that open. In practice offline during the week, these guys were running around the 212, 213s in race form with race fuel, so that's what I'd be looking for, and I'd be surprised if these guys can carry that speed any longer. Let's take a look and see. As Parsons comes down to complete a hot lap, and he does. He pulls it out, a 2:10.117. He just can't break that. That is very, very close. We've still got 10 minutes left, and let's grab Alex White. And Chris Moses. Chris Moses coming into Sector 1. We'll just hang in with Chris and see how he fares out here. Coming up to the sector time. Chris over, so he will not be setting any blistering pace there. Alex White still on his out lap. Let's hang in here with Chris and see how he does. A little bit of a bobble there as he comes around Stavelot. And down they go towards Blanchimont. Into the bus stop, heavy on the brakes. Little bit of a slide there. Hard into La Source. Big on the brakes. And back on the power. Not good enough to move him up. Alex White coming up to his sector split. I think it's going to be really tough to crack that 210 mark, but these guys continually surprise me at their awesome speed. And Alex White not far off. Grabbing all the curb he can there. And a little dip of the light saying, go on by. As he comes into the campus corners. Down into Stavelot. Two tricky left-handers, and you gotta nail this last one big time on the power. And the split. Not gonna be enough. I doubt he's gonna be able to make up that 4/100ths of a second. Anything is possible though, but nope. He even says thank you very much. That's it for that lap. So Moses in 3, Canavan in 4, Savoie in 5, and Savoie, a big lurch there. That'll be the end of that one. Kevin, put her back in the garage and get back out there unless you're going to stay out for 2 hot laps. Ian Joliker in the P6. Laurent Weisman, the Flying Frenchman, up to P7. David Poole in the P8, the big Ford. Brad Maris in P9. Hanger Racing, 910. Maris, Brado, impressive. Rich Roman, P11. John Sportelli up to P12. Good on you, John. Juan Monroy into P13 with Marty Uren in 14th. Greg Myers up to P16th. Good on you, Greg. Greg's not one of our better qualifiers, but definitely one of the smoothest drivers out there. Salem Montgomery up to P17. Douglas into 18th. Andrew Werner in 19th. John McIntyre into 20, Christian Hamilton in 21st, Andre Cole in 22nd, John Wathen into 23rd, and newcomer John Luden in P24th in the Zonda. I had the opportunity of taking that out for a few laps last night, and I quite liked it. Big Al Merriman, P25. Thomas Schubeck in 26th. Mikey Graytrix in P27. Ryan Schleif in P28. Good on you, Ryan. Manage those tires and manage yourself out there, you'll do well. Jean-Yves Sampson in 29th. And Sergio Calderon in P30. Lou Mascarelli trying to get a handle on this Corvette. Randy Genworth in P32. And Dan Wilkerson in P33. Jacob Carpati in P34. And Paul Hall in P35. Sam Rolfe sitting in the pits there, sitting in 36th. So, good stuff, Ken. You just hang in there. We'll get you up in Quali 2. You'll be able to grab your car and jump on the track, and Chris Moses will move you up into the broadcast booth. So, ladies and gentlemen, it looks like we will have a brand new co-host for Thursday nights, and look forward to seeing and hearing a lot more from Ken as he joins us for GT1 broadcast action. Mr. Parsons, 210117. Do I need to have... No, Ken, you don't need Procaster, don't need nothing. Just grab a car and jump in like you would be driving in a race, and you'll be good to go. So we'll probably have a little bit of on-air chatter as we get Ken all set up with what he needs to do. So at this point, Ken, just grab a car and join the server for Quali Session 2. And Chris will put you in the broadcast booth and just sit in your car and jump to other cars if you want to. So we'll get you all up and running. It's going to be great. As we wind down, 2 minutes left. We've got enough time for another hot lap, and that's going to be it. Parsons, a 210. Alex White, boy, oh boy, a 100th of a second behind him. And that is really close. Chris Moses about a half second off. There it is. There it is. Parsons has broken it. 209.650. A way to go, Mr. Parsons. That was the call earlier today. The chatter in the broadcast office, NAGP TV office, was that Johnny Lugnuts predicted someone would break the 210, and you did it. Boy, oh boy, that is flying. I was doing laps of about 2:15 last night, which is 6 seconds slower than Mr. Parsons. So, last guy out there to see if he can do it is Chris Moses, Savoie, and Prado. They're all trying. Big bobble there by Chris. Not going to help at all. As he comes around, I think that's Genworth getting out of the way, letting Chris get into the source. And around. Going to have to get that power down. Looks good. Not good enough. Chris is going to stick at P3. Savoie is off. That ends his quali. Prado may just have enough time to get this in. Let's see if he does. Into the bus stop. Heavy on it down to La Source. This is looking rather well. But it's a lot longer down this last straight than it looks. And he does improve to P3. Good on you. That is going to do it for quali. So, there you go. Qualifications are done. I don't think anybody else is going to be able to. Sportelli's so far out, there is no way. Everybody else is going to be too far away to finish their laps as the next session rolls along. So, quali 2. Now let's just see if we can get Ken into a car. Jump in, Ken. And sit in the pits when you get there, Kenny. Alex White just jumped in. Ken Rodriguez, launch in, join the session. GT1, lowercase, come on in. So as we wait here, quali 2, conditions are still dry for quali 2. Just waiting for my co-host here. Super. Ken, just sit there for a second. Mr. Moses, we'll put you in. You're good, Ken. Just sit right where you are, and Mr. Moses will bring you up to the broadcast booth. So as soon as we get an escort up to the broadcast booth, we'll be joined by our new co-host. Ken, are you out there?
I am here. Can you hear me?
Ken, we got you 5x5. Good to have you in. I'm glad you could make it. And ladies and gentlemen, I want to introduce Ken Rodriguez, our new co-host. How are you tonight, Ken?
Thank you, Jack. I'm doing pretty well, aside from the constant technical difficulties that plague most users when they're changing out cards. I guess I should have waited till after tonight, but we got it up and running, and we have a new video card, and it also incorporates some good sound. So we're just happy to be here, being a part of GT1 on Thursday night, and looking forward to a great race.
Super. I know we didn't get a chance to go through it while they're just doing this warm-up session. We'll just let them run, and of course, you just sit in your car in the pit there, Ken, and you can switch to other cars. And I don't know if you're familiar with the different view keys on your keyboard, but if you are, you can switch around there.
Yep, I got it. That's not a problem.
Super. Well, we had quite a thrilling qualification here tonight. Aaron Parsons broke the 210, and that is flying around this track.
It's got to be some kind of a new record. Was doing some recon laps earlier today, and Aaron was on, as well as a couple of others, and they were just flying around this track.
I sometimes wonder how they get the cars going that fast. I was out and just doing a few fun laps last night, and 215s was where I was sitting at, and how they do 209s is just beyond me.
Yeah, it's pretty amazing. These guys, they absolutely hold nothing back. Spa being the track that it is, this is one heck of a track where both setup and driving line are just as crucial as each other. One can't cancel the other out. But this is one heck of a track, a lot of history here, and it's definitely a fun track to drive. Just got to have your driving skill on.
I agree with you. I find this track very enjoyable. We race it in Monday nights in GT2 as our finale track, and they're racing it here mid-season in GT1, and the drivers know the track well. So a lot of it is coming down, as you said, is setup and driving line. And one of the guys who drives the line really well is Greg Myers. I'm looking for him to move up here in the order tonight.
Yeah, I've been watching Greg Myers over the past couple of weeks. He's definitely a line driver, Mr. Smooth and steady, if you will. It takes a lot to shake him, so definitely agree with you. He's definitely a candidate to move up here in the ranks.
Absolutely. Going to be hard to get by some of these front runners, though. Definitely. Alex White showing a lot of speed in that Corvette, along with Parsons and Moses. But Chris Moses laid down the gauntlet earlier. I was chatting with him, and he said he is out to win this race.
And I don't doubt that at all, Jack. Chris Moses has showed his mettle before. We know that he can pull a trick out of his hat at any given time, and when he's on, he's on.
Absolutely. I call him the pit wizard, and I have no doubt he is one of the best at getting in and out of the pits faster than anybody I know.
Yeah, definitely got to agree with you there. You know, I know that some guys, they try to mimic that in double stinting their tires. Don't know if they can get away with that so much here at Spa, because this track, you have some areas that are just flat out. They're going to eat up your tires. So it's going to be interesting to see what the pit strategies are going to be for tonight. Looking forward to that, and we'll see who the guys are that have the better strategies tonight for the pits.
Yeah, especially when it comes down to weather. If we get some changeable weather or some wet conditions, tire strategy is really going to play into it as well.
Absolutely. I mean, right now they got a track temperature of 69 degrees and the ambient is 56. Forecast is for sunshine, but as we know, this is Spa, so that can change at any given moment.
And we know this is GTR2, and this weather mod is crazy at the best of times.
Absolutely. I mean, it can give you a great quali session during qualifying one. You get nothing but sunshine, and next thing you know, out for your race, you're inundated with nothing but flooded water or some damp track.
Yeah, the damp conditions seem to throw a lot of these drivers off in tire selections. You know, if it's strictly flooded, it's pretty simple. If it's dry, pretty simple. But when they get into these damp conditions, you know, there's guys, you know, switching between the soft wets, hard wets, intermediates. I mean, the slicks, they're all over the place. So selection is going to be critical.
Yeah, Jackie, you know what? I fall into that category. I too have a hard time when the conditions are damp. Simply because, you know, what do you throw on depending on the track layout, the conditions of the track. Also, track temperature while it's damp plays a huge part, because we've seen in recent races where a lot of these drivers will go ahead and put on some soft wet fronts and hard wet rears, and the weather will start clearing up. They start melting these tires really, really quick.
Yeah, I've seen that a lot, you know, with warmer, wet conditions, and you're right, it plays havoc with them. But that's all part of the fun here.
Oh, absolutely. The challenges are incredible. GTR2 as a whole, as a simulator, is one terrific piece of software. I love the fact that can simulate so many different aspects of the racing world, and it's a good platform to build on.
Yeah, as I mentioned earlier, we got a bunch of new drivers out there tonight, and that's always great to see. Looks like we got maybe 4 or 5 of the 6 new drivers we have in the GT1. So the fields are growing, but there still is room for any drivers who want to join up.
Absolutely. I thought about throwing my hat into the GT1 ring. However, GT2 is where I'm comfortable at. I love driving the, they're a little more they're less horsepower, but they are not slow by any means. These GT2 cars can get around a track in a quick hurry as well. But GT1 definitely for the fast guys, laying down the horsepower.
All right, well, we've switched over to race. Now, just quickly, Ken, click on Aaron Parsons' car and cycle through all the cars. Make sure you got them all loaded so you can see them all on the track there.
Yes, I'm cycling through them, and I have them all.
Perfect. So, let's run them down. P1, Aaron Parsons. In P2, Chris Moses. P3, Andre Prado. P4, Kevin Savoy. In P5, David Canavan.
And starting P6, Ian Jolicoeur. P7 is Rich Roman. P8, David Poole. And Lauren Weisman in P9. Brad Maris, P10.
In P11, we've got John Sportelli. In 12th, Marty Uren. Juan Monroy in 13th with Marco Conti up to 14th. Christian Hamilton in 15th. And Mr. Smooth, Gregory Myers in 16th. Oh, sorry, I stole that one away from you again.
Absolutely no problem, Jack. Yes, we have Gregory Myers in 16, Salem Montgomery Jr., P17, P18 goes to John Waffen, and Gup Douglas in P19, and we see Big Al Merriman in P20.
Werner in 21st, McIntyre in 22nd, Cole in 23rd, John Luden, a newcomer, in 24th, Thomas Schubeck in 25th.
We got Mike Greatrix in 26th and Lou Mascarelli starting 27th. In the 28th position, Ryan Schliff, and 29 we have Jean-Yves Sampson, and P30 Sergio Calderon.
31st, we got Randy Chenworth, a newcomer, followed by Daniel Wilkerson, another newcomer. We're going to race. Sorry, we couldn't complete that out. We'll get better at that as we get along. And they are off. Mr. Parsons off to a big start. And the McLaren F1 headed down into Eau Rouge. This looks pretty clear going back there, stretched out. How's it look at your end there?
Yeah, definitely a good start here, Jack. I see that Aaron Parsons is pulled away. However, he's got Chris Moses right there on his tail. And we're seeing some changes going on here.
Chris has gone wide, Aaron Parsons has gone wide, and that looks like either Maris or Prado, and there's some bumping going on there. That was Prado got into it a little bit and got bumped back to 5th. So Moses has gone out and taken the lead, but Parsons is right back up at him. David Canavan up to 4th. Or up to 3rd with Jolicoeur in 4th, so they are really fighting hard in this first lap.
Yeah, this track definitely gives you the ability to go flat out here, Jack. These guys just need to find their groove, settle in a little bit. It's a long race, it's a long track, and plenty of time to make up lost time. Bumping and grinding ain't gonna get you nowhere. Settle in and drive as fast as you can.
Absolutely, it's going to be all about pace. So we've got Moses in 1st, Parsons 2nd, Canavan 3rd, Jolicoeur 4th, Prado in 5th, Roman 6th, Sportelli up to 7th, with a flying Frenchman, Kevin Savoy, in 8th, and they are all bunched up there. Lauren Weisman in 9, Marty Uren in 10th, Marty and David Poole side by side, Conti up to 12th, Juan Monroy in 13th, Hamilton in 14th. Oh, and lots of guys taking that big wide there. We've got damage up in front. Looks like Sportelli and maybe Mr. Poole got together.
Yep, that's what we're talking about here, Jack. They come down that last straight right before the bus stop chicane, and they tend to lose a little bit of their equilibrium there, if you will. It's a flat out part of the track.
Well, we've got Jolicoeur has taken over the lead over top of Parsons, and they're up through Eau Rouge. Boy, oh boy, lots of action early. I don't know if they're going to be able to keep this up.
Yeah, I have to agree with you, Jack. These guys probably are on the edge of adrenaline right now. Again, you know, this track inspires such things. But we're going to have to see how this one's going to play out.
Yeah, Prado up to 4th. And Chris Moses back to 5th. Kevin Savoy in 6th. Weisman in 7th. So the two Flying Frenchmen, 6 and 7. Rich Roman all over his bumper with Marty Uren close in pursuit. Marco Conti up to 10th. Christian Hamilton in 11th. Brad Maris in 12th. Brad Maris having a good look at Hamilton there. Greg Myers up to 14. Salem Montgomery, a great run for him so far, up to 15th. John Wathen in 16th. And Gup Douglas in 17. Andre Cole 18. Big Al Merriman in 19. Mike Greatrix in 20. McIntyre 25th, and Jean-Yves Sampson in 26. Sergio Calderon up to 27. Paul Hall in 28th. Werner in 29th. John Luden in the Zonda in P30, followed by Carpati in 31st, and Carpati gets it a little wide. Daniel Wilkinson puts the move on Carpati. Sportelli back to 33rd. He got involved in that at the bus stop there. He's missing his whole front end. John, you got to get her in the pits. Your whole front end is toast. David Poole must have got messed up there. The front end of his car is all messed up too. Down to 34th, so not good for those two drivers.
Yeah, just looking at Sportelli, Jack, I saw his engine smoking, so definitely going to have to get it into the pits. Looking at the middle of the pack, though, Salem Montgomery, Gup Douglas, and now Al Merriman, these guys are kind of hashing it out there. These guys are going bumper to bumper, trying to fight for some positions there.
Well, it is a tight race all the way around. Boy, 1 through 15, we can see them all the way down that big straight, and they are just lined up like a freight train.
Yeah, absolutely, Jack. These drivers certainly have their hands full. They're just vying for some position, and looks like everybody wants to be up front. Nobody wants to be behind, but as you know, we're always going to have a leader, and then we're going to have the followers.
Absolutely. In fact, we've got 6 and 7, the Flying Frenchman. It doesn't look like there's any team orders going on there. Followed by Rich Roman in tight pursuit. Good racing there. Marty Uren in 9th. Marco Conti in 10th. A little bit of breathing space there. Brad Maris back to 11th. But as you said, get to Hamilton in 12th. Monroy is on his tail. Myers is on his tail. Wathen's on his tail. Just like a freight train, Montgomery's there too. Boy, oh boy, there's some great action going out there.
You know, the one thing about Spa-Francorchamps, Jack, is that with this type of racing, these guys will definitely benefit from the draft. Will help some of their lap times and hopefully help them catch the leaders, and then we can get some good races going on for the lead.
Well, they are going up there at it right now. Boy, oh boy, we've got from 1 to 6. They're all nose to tail. Leading the way is Ian Jolicoeur.
Yep, and followed closely by Aaron Parsons, and Canavan is right there on Parsons' bumper, not letting up, not letting him get too far out of his sights.
No, that lucky leprechaun from Ireland, you never know with that guy. He'll pull a secret weapon out of his hat, and he'll be right there at the end.
Yeah, I can imagine.
Big power down the straight for Ian with that Aston Martin. So we've got Joliker in 1, Parsons in 2, Canavan in 3, Prado in 4, Moses in 5, Savoy in 6, Weisman 7, Roman 8, Marty Uren in 9, Marco Conti in 10, Brad Maris in 11, and that intense gaggle going on. We got Hamilton in 12th, Juan Monroy, Greg Myers, and John Wathen. Boy, there is some great action going on here tonight. Looks like fun. I wish I was out there.
Absolutely, Jack. These guys are just, they're going at it. They're doing what they have to do. And it's a lot of fun to watch them. Sure, it's a lot more fun to be out there on the track with them.
Well, it would be, and that's the one good thing about this NAGP league. You've probably experienced it a little bit. There is great racing from the front to the back in this league. So we're not all racing for P1. They are racing for position, and it doesn't matter if it's for 22nd or first. They're going
down. It's a very, very good atmosphere, and the racing club is just second to none.
And right now I'm down with the newcomer, John Luden. We're going to jump in on board with him as he is trying to put the move on Calderon. Give the newcomer a little bit of air time there.
John Luden looking good in that Pagani Zonda car, trying to put the moves on the Ferrari 550.
Yeah, and good on him too. It's always good to see the new guys come out, and like I said, there you go. Racing for 27th, but these guys look like they're going at it. So welcome to the league, John. Stick with it. Hang in there. Looks like you're having a good race. Paul Hall in 30th. Jean-Yves Sampson down to 32nd. Poole, did he... Yeah, it looks like David might have got his car fixed up. And we missed it. Alex White is out of the race. Alex, what happened? I can't believe it. We missed it. Wow. Parsons in P1 now. He's overtaken Ian Joliker. Sorry, we missed that little bit of action.
Looks like Alex had some contact with Sportelli's car there.
Yeah,
Damaged his suspension some, and he's out of the race.
Yeah, Alex is texting me. Alex, sorry, my eyesight is absolutely atrocious. Looks like you've had a catastrophic end to the night. Boy, oh boy, you sure had that car flying, though. Out in front, Mr. Parsons. Joliker in 2, Canavan in 3, but Prado is all over Canavan's bottom.
Yeah, and speaking of Prado, I was watching him last week at the Nürburgring, and man, was he driving! He was driving the wheels off of that Saline, coming from far down and almost finishing first.
Yeah, he is an incredible hard charger. It always amazes me. He's had some unfortunate incidents where he gets pushed to the back of the pack and still manages to make it up to the top 5. It's incredible.
Absolutely incredible, Jack.
Prado putting the pressure on Canavan. But as I can see out in front, there is something you do not want to have happen, and these guys don't, and that is to let Mr. Parsons get some clean pavement in front of him. boy, he can put the hammer down, and they don't want to let him get too far out in front.
Yeah, it looks like Parsons is definitely starting to check out there. He's put some distance between him and Jolicoeur, almost 2 seconds now.
Yeah, and you know, he has a way of making that grow till it's a comfortable ride for him.
Well, it looks like our top runners are starting to space themselves out a little bit nicely here. So I guess they'll probably be starting to think about pit strategies within the next couple of laps, I'm sure.
Well, we've got a total of 36 laps, so we're probably going to be looking around, you know, lap 17, lap 18. In P6, we got P6 and 7. We got the Flying Frenchman, Savoie, and Weisman. But Rich Roman is hanging tight with these two, with Marty Urin in 9th and Brad Maris in 10th. Brad getting a big pressure on from, I think it's Marco Conti. Yes, it is.
Marco Conti and that Lamborghini definitely pulling up on the bumper of that Saline.
Yeah, and as you said, we're going to follow these guys and see if Marco can hook up here and get a bit of a draft if he can get in close enough. On board with Marco. Not close enough this time. And that Celine just seems to be suited well for this track.
Yes, it does, Jack. Just looking a little further back, looking at Big Al Merriman, and he's being followed closely by Sam Rolfe. Looks like Sam is trying to put some moves there on Big Al.
Well, I just joined you back there, and good on Sam to put pressure on the boss. Tonight I wanted to just do a little bit of a feature there on Precision Motor Racing. Team of Chris Moses and Al Merriman. We'll just stick in here with Al for a second. Al Merriman racing out of Lowell, Massachusetts. GT1, 92 races, 1 win, 10 top 5s, 35 top 10s. His best start is 2nd. His average start is 11th, and his average finish is 8th. And of course, as you know, Al runs the NAGP League, so hats off to Big Al.
Yeah, he certainly does a fantastic job with running the league and everything that he does for the community. Second to none.
Looks like Al might be sporting a little bit of play into it a bit, the big fast straights.
Yeah, certainly not. But doesn't seem to be slowing him down too much. So that's also a good thing. He seems to be holding his lines pretty steady.
Yeah, up farther in the field, we got Gup Douglas in 15th, Greg Myers up to 14th, John Wathen in 13th, Juan Monroy in 12th, Marco Conti in 11th, and Brad Maris in 10th. Marty Uren in 9th, Rich Roman in 8th. A little bit of a slide there by Rich. Boy, it looks like he has got that car really loose. And the Frenchman still running 6-7. That is going to be hard to get by those two guys. Chris Moses still in 5th. Hanging on to the back end, Andre Prieto. Canavan still in 3rd. Jolicoeur in 2nd. And boy, oh boy, well, Jolicoeur's doing a good job of keeping Parsons in sight.
Yeah, he's kept them to within less than 2 seconds, so Looks like Jolliker's got his hands full, though, keeping Parsons within his sight, because we know that Parsons can drive that line, and he gets real comfortable, and once that rubber is laid down on that racing line, he can check out on you if you're not careful.
Absolutely. But our boy in blue there, Ian Joliker, boy, he can be racy when he wants to be.
And he's got the car to do it, too.
Yeah, that big Aston. Joliker into the bus stop. Big slide around there. And heavy on the brakes.
Just a little further back.
Yep, go ahead.
I was just going to say that just a little bit further back in P5, P4, Andres Preto, and he's got Chris Moses closing in on him. I've been watching them for about 15 or 20 seconds here, and it looks like Chris Moses is starting to push his big Mustang a little bit there.
Well, these two have known to swap paint before, so I'm sitting on board with Preto right now watching him, and don't be surprised if you see some action coming up shortly.
Absolutely.
Preto with a little bit of a lurch there. And on board with Chris Moses. Into Puhan.
Pushing those cars.
Yeah, tire wear may start to play into this. Well, temperature can't get much better at 81 track temp. It can't get much better than that for these guys. This is ideal conditions.
Yeah, and another thing to consider is the ambient temperature at 58 degrees. This is really good for the engines because the engines scooping up all that nice cool air helps them run a little bit better and keeps them going fast.
Yeah, they'll be able to run out to the max RPMs with a cool air temperature and not lose too much engine health. And Preto, a big slide there. Chris trying to take advantage. Closed up a little bit. I thought he would have closed up a lot more with Preto, but you know, Chris is pretty cautious, pretty considerate, but he is right up behind him now. These little battles are sure going to play into tire wear as well. All over the place as Chris goes through Eau Rouge. I wouldn't be surprised if Chris does a late break to pull right up behind him. And he is trying to press Preto pretty aggressively. And while we've got Chris on screen, he is the other half of Precision Motor Racing, Chris Moses, in the Ford GT. 600 horsepower, 7,700 RPM. 640 foot-pounds of torque. Car weighs in at 1,115 kilograms, powered by a 5-liter V8, and they're running on Pirelli tires. They probably would be praying for rain tonight. But can't catch these stats. Chris has been in 170 GT1 races, 28 wins, 95 top 5s, 149 top 10s, 30 poles. The average start for him is 5th, and the average finish is 4th.
That's amazing. Quite a virtual career.
And he does all that out on track when just beforehand he has got to get all us crazy drivers all in line, set up the grids, launch the game, and get things running, and he still manages to get out there, and boy, oh boy, what a record. It's just unbelievable. I think most of the other drivers are probably hoping we switch to a different sim.
I wouldn't doubt it, Jack.
So there's Chris Moses. On board with Chris, and he is right up Prato's tailpipe right now, coming into Eau Rouge.
Yep, coming up into Eau Rouge, you got to be careful. That curve there at the top of Eau Rouge is quite scary. Throwing you down Kemmel Straight. Kemmel Straight is just flat out.
Yeah, Eau Rouge can be the big game ender for a lot of these guys.
A little slip there by Prato.
Absolutely. You know, they are pushing real hard, and as these two battle it out, it is going to give, you know, Canavan and Parsons and Jolicoeur an opportunity to maybe put a little bit of distance between these two. Into Puhan.
Yeah, and I see that Wiseman is starting to pull up a little bit on these two now as they're battling for 4th and 5th position.
Yep, just jump back there for a second, and you're right. And Wiseman has left Savoie, his teammate, and putting a little bit of gap on him. But you know what? Don't count Chris out. If he can get by Prato, he is going to do everything he can. And if he doesn't get by him on the track, I am sure Chris is going to pull a wizard trick and big wobble there out for the pit. You know what, Ken? I almost smell disaster coming up with these two guys.
Well, let's hope for the better.
Prato on the inside, side by side. I think that little side by side, Chris was just telling him, I want by.
And Prato's not letting up. Oh, small slip by Prato.
Prato driving defensively, taking the center line. Side by side. Oh. And a little bit of a bump check. I think Chris has just said, move it. But you're right. Wiseman is now caught up to these two.
Yep, and here comes Savoie, right behind Wiseman.
Moses, Prato, side by side. Little slide there, and holy, jumping Wiseman has jumped into that foray.
They got a four-way battle for 4th place.
Unbelievable. Chris taking that corner really wide, and this is where he seems to catch Prato at, oh boy, and Wiseman is right up behind them. I smell disaster. I don't know about you, Ken, but it looks pretty exciting.
Very exciting, Jack.
And Savoie just about rear ends his teammate Weisman.
You know, Jack, this level of driving just shows the commitment that these young men have in racing. They definitely put it all out there, and they let it all hang out.
Well, they sure are tonight. I mean, 1, 2, 3, 4. We got 5 cars vying for P4. Weisman, Savoie, and now Marty Uren is making his charge up there too.
Yep, just jumped on board with Marty Uren, and I see that he's got he's probably picking up some small draft from P7.
Well, this is some great racing, top 10 action here Thursday night. Just jumping back to the leaderboard here. We're going into lap 12, so we're not too far out. 4 or 5 laps out, and we're going to be seeing them all head into the pits. Canavan hangs on to P3. Jolicoeur in P2, and Jolicoeur going through some lap traffic, and Aaron Parsons is out in front, going through the bus stop. Not another car in sight, Ken.
Nothing yet. He's got clean air in front of him, and that's a huge, huge advantage.
Conserve the tires, drive nice and clean, nice and quick, and he is checking out. Yeah, he must have a few second advantage over Ian right now. And Ian pushing hard.
Yeah, looking at the... Sorry about that, Jack. Looking
no,
at the board,
it's okay.
Parsons has gone ahead and pulled out a 7-second lead over Jolicoeur.
Wow. That's significant. That's like a half second a lap so far. Now back at Prado and Moses. It looks like they're Canavan in 7. Marty Uren in 8th. Rich Roman in 9th. Mark O'Connie up to 10. Brad Maris in 11. Juan Monroy in 12th. Greg Myers up to 13th, and Wathen in 14th. Christian Hamilton in 15th, followed by Andre Cole. Johnny Mack hanging on to his bumper as well, with Gup Douglas in 18. Salem Montgomery in 19. Sam Rolfe in 20th. Andrew Werner in P21. John Luton up to P22. Way to go, John. Mikey Graytrix in P23, Thomas Schubeck in 24th, and Big Al Merriman is off the track in P25, and boy, oh boy, it looks like Big Al's got a flat tire. I don't know where he is on the track, but that's going to be a tough one to get around the track.
And looking a little further back there, Jack, looks like Lou Mascarelli suffered an accident. He's off the track. He's done for the day.
Oh, man, and that guy Lou just loves this track. Big Al's now dropped to 26th. And Ryan Schleif is in P27, still running strong, with Daniel Wilkerson chasing him down. Sergio Calderon in P29, and yes, you're right, Liquid Lou Mascarelli. Now we've got P31. Johnny Sampson dives into the pits. Carpati has parked it. And there's your race leader, Aaron Parsons. Boy, it looks like he's just cruising around there on a Sunday drive. And Paul Hall is out too. Hey, Paul's just joined us in the broadcast. Sorry to see that, Paul. Your teammate Marco is doing pretty good tonight, though. So we've got Parsons, Joliker, Canavan, 1, 2, 3. Canavan hanging on, not too far back from Joliker though. And there we are, the big gaggle. But guess what? It looks like Weisman has gotten by Chris Moses. So we've got Prado, Weisman, Moses. I'm wondering, Ken, if maybe Chris has cooked up his tires.
That's certainly a possibility, because we know he was going really hard with it against Prato, and coming down that small curve just now, I see that he's smoking his right rear tire, so definite possibility.
Well, he is in a flying Frenchman sandwich right now, in the sandwich between the two Nissans.
It looks like Savoie is definitely looking for an opportunity to get by Moses here too.
Just jumped on board.
Up really close on his bumper.
Really taking that corner wide there at Blanchimont. On board with Kevin Savoie.
Yep, you can see Moses continues to lock up his tires just about every heartbreaking corner. So I think you're right, Jack. It may be that his tires are starting to go away.
That Ford GT is brute on those rears. Whoa, Savoie, wide, and he has been passed. Savoie took that a little bit scary going through Eau Rouge there and lost the position to Mr. Uren.
Oh, yeah.
Boy, that Eau Rouge can come out and bite you. It is so fast, and it is so slick when you lose it.
There's a saying about Eau Rouge at Spa-Francorchamps, that is that she holds no favorites. So don't get too comfortable with her, and don't think that you know her, because she has absolutely no favorites.
Well, there's one guy out there tonight who seems to be dating that corner, and that would be Mr. Parsons, our race leader.
Oh yeah.
So we've got Marty up to P7, and he has now got Mr. Moses in his sight. And it looks like Mr. Weisman is going to take a run at Mr. Prado. Weisman dives into the pits. So we're now starting to see some pit cycle.
And this is going to be crucial, Jack, because the strategy that these guys are playing here, we see Weisman dropping a couple of slots as the others stay out. However, will it pay off for Weisman coming in a little bit earlier? Yeah,
we'll have to see. You know, it's always tricky to know exactly when you want to get in. Stay out too long, tires get worn, start losing some pace. Come in too soon, your tires are going to go off too soon at the end of the race. So big decisions these guys got to make. I was just on board with Ian Joliker as he's going through some lap traffic, and boy, he made one scary pass at Eau Rouge on some lap traffic there. So these guys are coming up to some lap traffic, which is always dicey.
Oh, absolutely, absolutely. And at this juncture in the race, you know, they have to contend with the fact that they're coming up on lap traffic, as well as the fact that they may be suffering some tire wear. So things can get real hairy at times. And I see Jolicoeur flashing his lights there to get past some lap traffic.
Well, you know, I got to hand it to all these drivers. They're all pretty courteous out there when it comes to lap traffic, and that is not as easy as it looks to let these guys get by without ruining yourself and ruining them. So it's a fine dance they do together right there.
Absolutely, Jack.
Chris Moses way wide on that last corner, and Mr. Uren putting the hammer down. So, will Chris come in for pit action this time around? Chris Moses in the pits. Prado stays out. Canavan stays out. Jolicoeur stays out. And Mr. Parsons still out. So, we've got a little bit of pit action there, so we'll have to wait till the rotation's finished to see how it all shakes out.
Yeah, I think Parsons may be one that isn't suffering too much tire damage. He's just been on cruise control from the word go, it seems.
Yeah, I'm on board with Parsons right now, and he just looks so smooth out there. Driving the line, not sliding around too much. Boy, he looks like he's got that car set up.
Absolutely. Ten and a half second gap between 1 and 2. So yeah, he's on cruise control, Jack.
Yeah, and I really can't see if he's pulled out a 10-second lead in the first stint. That is going to be tough to make up unless he makes a serious mistake. Now, I can't quite get a good look at the skies, but I think we might be all right to get through this race with good conditions. Yeah, they don't look too bad at all.
No, just a few clouds, but looks like the sun is out and it's shining. And again, the forecast is for sunshine, and that ambient temperature is definitely giving these guys a welcomed atmosphere with 56 degrees, and the track temperature actually has cooled a little bit from the start of the race. It's now down to 71.
Well, got to keep an eye on that temp. So you know that a late rain could throw a real monkey wrench into this whole exercise tonight.
Oh yeah, I absolutely agree. And we have Parsons just came into the pits,
and he's in the pits along with Canavan
and Ian Jolicoeur.
So we're gonna try and keep our eye on these guys. And we've got Prado coming in too, it looks like. Marty Uren looks like he's coming in. Does that mean Chris Moses has stayed out? Parsons up on the jacks.
Moses actually pitted 2 laps earlier. He was in already. That's why he's down at 14. Looks like he's going to try and capitalize on this because the folks in front of him have not yet pitted, except for 1 through 7 that are in the pits now.
Yeah, Parsons is just off the Jackson away. And Ian Jolicoeur behind him. It doesn't look like Ian has picked up any time in the pits at all. And if he's tried to short fuel himself, he may get himself caught out. And he is, well, he might have just gained a little bit. He is coming down pit row just behind Aaron Parsons. I have no idea where Chris is on the track. It'd be interesting to see where he plops out of this.
Chris is now just about heading to the bus stop chicane. Yeah, he's just entering it right now.
Well, this is going to be very interesting here because that is a long pit road, and boy, oh boy, it seems like it takes forever when you're crawling down there at 36 miles an hour. Joliker has just come out.
Chris Moses at La Source.
Now, I don't think Canavan has pitted yet, has he?
I haven't seen Canavan come into the pits, but oh yes, he did.
All right.
He may have come in.
All right.
Hey, Jack, just a quick note here. I'm looking up at the skies. I see some gray moving in.
When you mentioned that the temperature was falling, I was really concerned about that. So we may end up with some rain, and this is going to be really interesting if these guys have to make another pit stop.
This is Belgium.
And this is GTR2.
That it is.
So we've got Prado out there. Chris Moses in behind him, but Prado's got quite a bit of a lead there. Chris might have elected. He had a bit of front end damage there after he bumped into Prado, and it looks like he's got that fixed up, so he elected to get that aero damage fixed. But the next lap or two should sort all these guys out.
Looks like we just lost Weisman to an engine failure.
Oh man, not good. I don't know, did he lose it and bump the wall, or did he burn his motor out? I gotta think he bumped into something to lose a motor.
Can't quite tell you. I wasn't on board with him when he lost. I'm just looking through our list here, and he's out with an engine.
Well, it wouldn't surprise me if he ran into something and hit his motor, because inside intel tells me that guy runs like no wing at all to get as much speed on the straights as he can. So boy, that's too bad. He was running a real strong race.
Yep, definite shame there.
So Mr. Parsons has got about the Camel straight length ahead of Ian Joliker. So Ian's really going to have to pick it up if he wants to close that gap. Now, Canavan is right up behind Joliker, and I'd look for him to try and put the move on him.
Yeah, I wouldn't doubt it. He's a couple, about maybe 1.5 seconds behind, but still got a little making up to do.
Well, we still got about 14 laps to go, 13 laps to go, so I wouldn't doubt that there's plenty of time to make up a couple of second gap there.
Absolutely, and anything is possible on fresh tires. Let's just see how this weather holds up, because our conditions have changed and our forecast has changed. Now our ambient is at 58, track's still at 71, but we're looking at some overcast condition and a forecast of damp.
Well, this will make it really interesting. They're out there on slicks. If we go damp and they get offline, we're going to see some slipping and sliding.
And some pirouettes.
Absolutely. Just cycling through the pack here. We're down in P14 with Greg Myers and Christian Hamilton in P15 chasing him. Somebody else I don't see up here is Marco Conti. I got Johnny Mack in 16th and got Douglas in 17. Sergio Calderon is up to P18, followed by Andrew Werner in the big Ford GT, and Andrew coming to put a move on Sergio, and they come together.
You know, getting back to Marco Conti, Jack,
Salem Montgomery running in P20, and Daniel Wilkerson, one of our newcomers, in P21. Daniel getting hounded by Sam Rolfe.
Definitely a good test for these newcomers. See how they can hold their own. Way wide there.
Yeah, absolutely. A little bit of a miscue there. Probably felt the pressure. Hang in there, Dan. Doing a great job so far, though. David Poole, all the way back to P23. I have no idea what happened to David. Obviously, he had early troubles. Thomas Schubeck in the Panos, and I love the look of that car. That is one scary-looking car in P24th. And another newcomer, Ryan Schleif in P25. Ryan cutting a little bit of grass there, but hangs on to it as he's got lap traffic coming in behind him. Lets him through pretty clean, though. Jean-Yves Sampson in P26. And Parsons, P1. Sailing around like nothing happened. That McLaren, that is one car I just cannot get a handle on. I've tried driving that thing, and boy, oh boy. High revving car, but I just cannot keep that thing on the track.
That makes two of us, Jack. I've tried that McLaren. It's a beast to handle. But Parsons is putting on a workshop today, no doubt about it.
Well, anytime you show Aaron clean track and a little bit of a lead, boy, I just got a good look at the clouds. Ken, it looks bad. I don't know what lap we're on, but boy, oh boy, I wouldn't be surprised if we pull into rain soon. And this is going to be... it is raining now. I can see it on my monitor. I think it is raining now, Ken.
Just started to rain. We're on lap 21 with about another, 11 laps left to go, roughly?
Maybe this will go max distance 36, but you're right, it probably go maybe about 33. So you know what? Look for some more pit action. And we've got rooster tails coming off the back of Mr. Parsons now, so it's going to get really, really interesting. We're going to have to keep our eyes on some of the close races because, oh boy, it is pouring now.
Absolutely. The rain has come.
Well, we'll look for the lap times to slow down and look for some of these guys that are excellent in the rain, like Mr. Parsons, to might capitalize on this. Jolker hanging on to P2. Canavan in P3, not far behind, but Canavan sliding that Lister all over the place.
Yeah, just jumped on with Canavan as you were mentioning that, and see the rooster tails are starting to grow here, Jack. This is going to get interesting.
They get out of the line, and it's going to be very slippery.
Absolutely.
I hear the pit horn going off, so we have got guys diving in for changes now. Marty, you ran up to P4.
Yeah, looks like...
Oh. Brad
We've
Maris.
got Moses and Prato.
Chris jumping in early. I guess Chris has taken a good look at the weather and the temps and said, no sense waiting. I can probably make some time up if I get in and get the right tires on. Now, what are the right tires going to be, though?
Oh, conditions are damp. I'd look for some of these guys to probably put on some inters.
Boy, that rain is really coming down now, though, Ken.
And we just went to wet. So if these guys that are in the pits went for inters, oh, it's going to get real dicey for them.
Hamilton up through Eau Rouge, just barely hanging on to it. They're going to have to get in and get some proper rubber on these cars, or else it's going to end quickly for them. Warner back to P11. Moses in 12th. Douglas in 13th. Wathen is in the pits. Myers is in the pits. Sam Ralph is in the pits. Montgomery in the pits. Wilkerson in the pits. Andre Cole in the pits. Pulls coming in. John Luden. Pull her in, John. Get some proper rubber on that.
Looks like Parsons decided to keep his car out another lap.
Whoa, Mikey Graytrix into the bus stop and missed that turn completely and done a 360 donut. He will definitely be heading to the pits there. Thomas Schubeck still hanging in out there. Big, wide. Look for Thomas to come in for tires too. And Thomas spins it at the bus stop as well. Johnny Sampson loses it.
Guys hit. Looks like they're hitting the curbs a little too hard there, Jack, and this rain is not giving them a break.
Not at all. Now, did Parsons come in for a tire change?
Parsons is actually still out. He is working, let's see here, what is he working? He's working lap 23, or he's working lap 24, I should say. And we have thunder and lightning on the way here, Jack, momentarily.
It is an absolute downpour now. We're probably going to be going to flooded. And you know what? If Aaron has stayed out and opts to take full wets, it's probably going to be the best move, because I bet you the temps are going to probably favor soft wets in this condition. He is tiptoeing around the track right now, Aaron Parsons.
That he is, and just as you said, we may go flooded. Our conditions are now flooded. You can see the water on the track. It's pooling everywhere, so looks like Parsons is probably going to be the beneficiary of coming in a little later, having held out a little more, and he'll probably get the right rubber on his car. That'll be to his benefit.
He can't even hold the car on the track right now. I'm on board with Aaron, and boy, oh boy, it looks like he is running at half speed. Hydroplaning all over. Boy, oh boy, he may even lose it.
Oh yeah, he's just sliding all over the place.
Up to the bus stop, and this is where everybody has looped it, and he's no different. Look at that. Not looped it. He's just aimed it right for the pit entrance there, and Mr. Parsons dives in. Oh, and clipped the wall as he came in too.
Yes, he did. Looks like we just lost Johnny Mack.
Well, I'm not surprised, and we'll look to lose maybe a couple more. Joliker is out there, and now, did Ian get in for a tire change? There are cars spinning all over.
All over the place, yep. I do know that Joliker is about 15 seconds out from Parsons right now, and not sure if he came in yet.
He's just coming to the pit entrance, and he goes right on by. So Joliker is staying out on track. He looks like he has got some grip out there, but there is not a lot of grip to be found out there, I don't think.
He's just coming around the corner, and Parsons is just getting out of the pit road.
I see that, but it looks like Ian is taking over and P1, and this is going to make it very interesting. What tires is Joliker on? What tires is Parsons on? I think it's going to make a huge difference. But Ian seems to be motoring along pretty good here. That puts Canavan in P2. Parsons in P3. Prado in 4th. Moses in 5th. Maris in 6th. Roman in 7th. Marty Uren is just diving into the pits. He was in 8th. John Wathen will take over that spot. In 13th, Werner in 14th, Christian Hamilton in 15th, and Gup Douglas in 16th. Wilkerson, good on ya. 1 out of the points. Hang in there, Dan. Salem Montgomery in 18th, David Poole in 19th, and Thomas Schubeck just slides the Panos into the wall. And we may be looking at a flat tire condition. No, it looks like he's off and moving again. John Luden, he is in for tires. And Ryan Schleif, he is hanging out there with, looks like a handful of Aston Martin. Sergio Calderon has parked it. Johnny Sampson has parked it. Well, what do you think, Ken?
Well, the conditions aren't favorable right now. I mean, these guys, they were happy-go-lucky while everything was dry, and they were really putting the heat down on the track. And now this, so definitely a change in strategy, a quick mental change in driving attitude. So there's a lot of things into play here as we watch Schliff put it into the wall. This is exactly what I'm talking about. The mental strategy now has to change, and the mental attitude hasn't changed because wet roads, totally different animal.
Yeah, just on board there with Ryan. Boy, he is slipping and sliding all over the place, so maybe not having the right tire selection in there, and it looks like he's got the front end of that Aston Martin all beat to pieces.
Yeah, I'm watching the same thing as you, Jack, and he's sideways again. So may think about coming back into the pits just to be able to finish the race.
Absolutely. You know, he's only 6 spots out of the points, and in these conditions, anything can happen. John Luden in P21, Schubeck in P27. But that Panos is sporting a little bit of custom body work on it now. Salem Montgomery in 19th. Poole in 18th. Wilkerson. You know, the car is clean. Dan's car is looking pretty good out there in 17th, and he's only 1 out of the points. So for his first race, this is good going on you, Dan. Some lap traffic coming to overtake Dan. I know it's going to be tough. He pulls offline and lets him through. Way to go, Dan. Gup Douglas in 16th. Sam Rolfe in 15th. Christian Hamilton in 14th. Marty Uren in 13th. Andre Cole in 12th. Andrew Werner in 11th. Chris Moses in 10th. Juan Monroy in 9th. John Wathen in 8th. Greg Myers up to P7, and this is where smooth driving is really going to come into play here, and stay on your line, keep it smooth, and you'll make your way up to the front of the pack.
Absolutely. Interesting turn of events there as you were going through the running order. Chris Moses was just coming out of the pits, so perhaps another change of tires.
Could be. He might not, you know, if they had to come out on inters or hard wets and it went flooded, they're going to need the soft wets out there in this condition.
Absolutely, Jack. Soft wets is what it'll take to get you around this track at a halfway decent clip.
Yep, Brad Maris in the P5, Prado in P4. There's that Anger Racing. Boy, they've got a stranglehold on the team points right now, and running 4 and 5. Boy, oh boy, these guys sure know how to rack up the points as a team. Parsons down to P3, Canavan in P2, and Joliker in P1. So, did we get another change in tires with Parsons there?
Not exactly sure. I can tell you that Joliker's got himself a nice, comfortable 16.5-second lead over Canavan, 18 seconds over Parsons.
Yeah, and that's a So, Ian Joliker racing out of Bowmanville, Ontario. Now, he's putting on a bit of a rain clinic for us.
Yes, he is, Jack. Yes, he is.
Whoa, and we've got, boy, our new driver, John Luden in the Zonda, had just put it off and collected himself in the wall, letting Ian Joliker. I guess that just shows you how slick it is when you get offline.
Absolutely, and he went just a little bit too wide there and put himself on the grass, and absolutely no grip on the grass in the rain.
No, I got to think the curbs and the grass are going to be extremely slippery. Well, we've got an interesting turn here. We've got Mr. Parsons all over the back of our lucky leprechaun, David Canavan. And Parsons making a move on the inside and going around, and Canavan letting him go. On board with Canavan, and you can see that water and the glare on the tracks. Boy, oh boy, this is extremely flooded.
Yeah, water's pooling everywhere outside of that racing line. These guys got to be, these drivers have to be very careful to stay within the racing groove. Otherwise, they're going to turn these race cars into race boats.
Well, I think they're probably feeling like they're racing boats right now. And just coming down, headed up to Eau Rouge with David Canavan, and all those crazy spectators are getting drenched. Boy, oh boy, and there is a ton of water out there. There is nothing but rooster tails in the cars in front of you. I think if you get up real close and behind somebody, you're going to have zero visibility. It almost looks like snow out there right now.
Oh, Jack, and yeah, driving in a rooster tail, in a large rooster tail, definitely challenge. Gives you at times, unless you're absolutely comfortable with the track, you can lose your sense of direction, miscue a turn, end up in the wall, end up in the grass, or end up in a sand trap.
Yeah, the sand is probably going to be probably preferable over the grass, because that grass is just going to let you slide like uncontrollably. Canavan threw some lap traffic there, but Parsons is checking out on Canavan.
That he is. The funny thing is here, Joliker is also doing really well because he's maintaining that 16-second lead. Although it looks like Parsons is starting to push it a little bit more. It looks like Parsons is going to try and reel him in for the end of the race.
Yeah, I don't know how many laps we've got left, but I don't know if have we got enough time left for Parsons to reel him in? Is he picking up that much?
Oh, he's pushing it. We're on lap 27, working lap 28 now. It's going to be probably not close enough. 16 seconds? Probably not.
Well, yeah, as Parsons takes Lashmont wide and heading into the bus stop, but boy, he looks pretty solid out there.
Well, he's definitely closing that gap really quick. He just went from a 16-second gap from Joliker. They're down to 14 seconds.
Well, probably not
just a matter of a
enough
couple of
time.
quarters.
Yeah, he has distanced himself from Canavan, and Prado has got Canavan in sight now. And Marison behind him, not too far back. And Roman has just got by Brad Maris. Greg Myers up to P7. John Wathan into P8. Juan Monroy in 9th. And Chris Moses hanging in there at 10th.
Marty Urin is running a solid 11, followed by Andres Cole in 12 and Andrew Werner in 13, 14 Christian Hamilton, Sam Rolfe solid in 15 and Gup Douglas in 16. David Poole making his way up to 17 from all the way in the back. Good on you, Mr. Poole.
Yeah, David Poole, one of our top drivers here at NAGP, both Mondays and Thursdays, and this guy knows how to set cars up.
So that's the trick. That's who I got to get with.
Absolutely, and you know what? For any of you drivers out there that are watching, this guy is free with all sorts of help. All you got to do is PM Mr. Poole. He will send you back a setup, get you going on the right track. Great guy. Can't say enough about David. He's helped me out a lot.
Absolutely. My first day with NAGP when I went live in GT2, that was at the A1 ring. David Poole was certainly there to do the shakedown run with me and give me some advice on how to run the race based on the number of entrants that were scheduled to be there. And can't say enough good things about David Poole. He was a perfect gentleman. Definitely went out of his way to make me feel comfortable within the league, and that speaks volumes.
Yep, like most of them, they're all great guys to deal with. Not too many secrets here, but I don't think if you get up onto their bumper and pace-wise, I think that's going to end the free tips there, Ken.
Absolutely. It's like I said the other day, you know, you can give me all the setups you want. I still got to outdrive you. And once I get to that point, well, then perhaps a bit of a friendly rivalry will develop, right?
Absolutely. I'm on board with our race leader right now, Ian Joliker. He's looking pretty good out there, but we do know that probably not too far back is Mr. Parsons, and in a good second place and probably closing the gap just a tiny little bit every lap.
Well, we're on lap 29 right now. Based on the lap times, I think we may have enough to go another 3 laps, finish with 32, maybe 33 laps.
Perfect. That's David Canavan in 3rd. Andre Prado in 4th. I think we just covered 4 continents there. Rich Roman in 5th. Brad Maris in 6th. Greg Myers in 7th. John Wathan in 8th. Chris Moses up to P9 now. Juan Monroy in P10 as they go through Eau Rouge together. Very, very dicey in these kind of conditions. Marty Uren in P11. Andre Cole in 12th. And Christian Hamilton, I'm just going to sit here for a second because Christian is putting the hammer down and chasing him and is on his bumper. On board with Christian Hamilton into the bus stop. Christian Hamilton, teammate with David Canavan, headed around to La Source. And we'll follow these guys through Eau Rouge. Hamilton got a good run out of Eau Rouge there.
Doesn't look like he was able to pick up enough draft, but he's definitely right on the bumper.
Yep, just a fraction off to get a toe down that Camel Straight. But boy, you're right, he is right on his tailpipe. So, great late racing here.
Putting a lot of pressure on Andre Cole. Probably trying to make him run wide in the corner and take advantage and slip through.
Yeah, it's not going to take much of a mistake in these conditions to slide you wide, make you get off the gas and try to recollect yourself. Boy, lots of glare out there on the track, and anytime you can see the glare, you know this track is flooded.
Ironically enough, with a couple laps left to go, weather's starting to clear now a little bit as Christian Hamilton almost gets sideways there.
Yeah, we caught that on camera, and that looked a little dicey from our view. But he is pushing for that P12. But you know, in these, and Hamilton's lost it, and he is. Thank goodness he missed those concrete barriers there. But I don't know. He looks. No, he's got her moving again. Hanging on to his P13. He's still got it there. Werner in P14.
That he does. He was fortunate.
He was fortunate. That could have been a game ender if he had gone into those barriers. Werner in 14th, Rolf in 15th, and David Poole up into the points at P16. Got Douglas at 17, and Dan Wilkerson in 18th. Thomas Schubeck. Oh, he's got that Panos all fixed up. Looks good now in P19. And John Luden still sporting some right front damage on that Zonda, but soldiering on. Way to go, John. And Ryan Schleif, big slide around the corner in the Aston, but hangs on to it. And back up in front. There's your leader, Ian Joliker. Big slide, and he has spun it. And he is stuck in the grass there for a second.
And here comes Parsons with only a 1.5 second. He's going to pass him.
He's got him. He's got him. Unbelievable. And now Ian is sort of bottlenecked in behind Luden. Holy jumping. Mr. Parsons, he did it. Kept it steady and made up the distance, and Ian has one little bobble, and that's enough for Parsons to take the lead.
What a turn of events.
You can bet there isn't a smile on Ian's face right now.
Absolutely, Jack.
Still.
One thing I've noticed in racing, probably not with the really fast guys, is but somebody else's misfortune becomes your fortune. Tends to play with your nerves a little bit when you're in that race car.
Absolutely. You know, I think maybe some inexperience is catching John Luden out here. Looks like he is in between Parsons and Joliker. Joliker has given the flip of the lights a couple times, and it doesn't look like Ian is getting around him too easily.
And as you said, that's where some of the inexperience comes in, but I'm sure that it'll be addressed.
Well, he finally got by him, so all's well there. Might have cost Ian a little bit of time, but boy, oh boy, you show the lead to Parsons. You're going to be in a tough spot to take it back over again. Although Joliker is pushing hard now, and looks like he is trying to close that gap up. But Canavan's not too far off there.
No, Jolicoeur is about 2 seconds behind Parsons, and Canavan about 4 seconds behind Parsons. So they're evenly spaced at 2 seconds, one through three.
And we got to be winding down on laps there. Maybe 1 or 2 more laps. What do you think, Ken?
Well, we've completed 32, so these guys are now working on 33. I'm not sure. We might be watching the penultimate lap, if not the final lap.
Well, I am going to stay right here on the race leader, Mr. Parsons. And we can see Joliker not far behind.
No, Jolicoeur is definitely pushing really hard, trying to put some pressure on Parsons.
Well, as we saw what happened, it's not going to take much. One little bobble, and both of them run wide there.
Yeah, I think they're doing that more so for safety precaution. But here comes Jolicoeur. He is just about pulling up on Parsons' bumper there. A little slip there by Jolicoeur in the bus stop chicane.
Both these guys looking solid. And that looked very, very tentative by Parsons coming through that corner at La Source. On board with Joliker as he tries to hunt down the race leader. And I think Ian's going to have to be pretty careful here because he's in a fairly solid P2. Any kind of an altercation between him and Parsons could cost the position here because Canavan's not that far behind, and Joliker is wild around that corner there. And look at that, Canavan is right up behind. Right up behind him now. 1, 2, 3. What a finish we got here, folks. This is unreal after an hour and a half of racing. I'm on board in behind David Canavan, and he looks like he might have a little bit of pace over Joliker right now.
Certainly looks that way as Jolicoeur gets a little squirrely there with Canavan right on his tail.
Yeah, and Canavan looks fairly smooth and solid going through the corners there. Well, we might be
Canavan's
coming down.
Spelling a P2 there.
I think so. I think you're right. Let's see how they handle Blashmal. Joliker right up on the back of Parsons, and Parsons coming up to lap traffic. And Joliker spins it around. Oh! Joliker has spun the car. That lets Canavan slip on by into P1. And Parsons is pulling in the pits.
Did Parsons have contact?
No, I don't think so. I am at a loss. I am totally at a loss here. Absolutely at a loss. We've got Prado taking P3 now. Parsons is in the pits. I just don't understand it.
Nor do I, Jack. He's away now. He's back out. Don't know what happened there.
Fuel. He ran out of fuel. He must have.
Yeah, I think you're right. He probably didn't calculate his fuel right at his pit stop.
And yeah, he has just run out of fuel. That bobble by Ian there led Canavan, and Canavan's out in front. And I got to think that as smooth as Canavan looked, and the track does appear to be drying up, that Canavan is going to run home with this.
Quite possibly, and surprising turn of events, we've actually completed 34 laps.
And I got to think this is it. So, Parsons out of fuel. It has got to be. I have no other explanation for that at all.
Unbelievable.
And that being said, we got Ian Jolicoeur in P2, and right on his bumper is John Luden in the Zonda. And it looks like John's got great pace, but don't go pressing this P2 guy and cause an accident there, John.
And we just lost Parsons with suspension. It looks like he may have bought it.
Boy, he gave us some great racing action all night tonight. And I have got a feeling that this may be it. And are we going another lap? Maybe. Canavan is staying out and on the throttle. Jolicoeur in P2. Boy, that John Luden is giving Jolicoeur all sorts of trouble out there. Andre Prado into P3. Brad Maris in 4. Juan Monroy in 5. Wathan in 6th. Roman in 7. Marty in 8th. Myers in 9th. Christian Hamilton up to P10. Great race for Christian. Andre Cole in 11th. Sam Rolfe in 12th. Another great race for Sam. Werner in 13th. Chris Moses back in 14th, and he won't be happy with that. Got Douglas in 15th in the points. And Thomas Schubeck picks up his points in P16. John Luden in P17th. And John is still hanging in behind Ian Jolicoeur, so Luden has shown some late race pace. Dan Wilkerson in 18th, and that's all the cars that are running, folks. Back out with your race leader, David Canavan. Well, Ken, do you think this is it? It looks like the track is drying up. The sun looks like it's shining a little bit.
Yeah, the track's drying a little bit. Still see some wetness out there, but I think we may be seeing our last lap, perhaps. We tried calling it before, and they kept on going.
Well, it's always been a mystery to me, trying to keep track of time and distance, and then when we get into these wet conditions, we just throw all that out the window and sort of end up on time alone.
Yeah, I can certainly understand and see that.
David Canavan, your race leader, into La Source. And that's the end of the race. Canavan, P1. Ian Jolicoeur coming down for P2. So Jolicoeur hangs on to his P2, sliding the car all around, but he hangs on for P2. Unfortunately, Mr. Parsons is not in front of him. Andre Prado in P3, and Brad Maris. So there's a 3-4 for Anger Racing. That is going to be huge for the team points.
Absolutely. And I guess David Canavan realized the race is over. He's doing his little victory spin there.
And we've got Juan Monroy coming around in P5 with Rich Roman in 6th. Wathen in 7th, but here we've got John Wathen and Marty Uren, and they're duking it out for the P7 position.
Trying to bring it on home.
Absolutely. Whoa, Wathen, a big slide there. And that allows Marty Uren to take that P7 position. Last lap nerves, and Greg Myers is smelling inside, and oh, it looks like Wathen is half spun it. That's going to give Myers that position, and Myers all over the back of Marty. Marty taking a very defensive line coming into La Source, but Greg Myers down on the inside, outbreaks him, but it's the old over-under. Greg Myers has put it in the wall. And that's going to allow John Wathen back. John Wathen takes the P8 back. Myers in 9th. Oh man. Lots of good action.
Never over until the fat lady sings.
Absolutely, and there's Andre Cole's going to finish in 10th. Sam Rolfe in 11th. Gup Douglas in 12th. Thomas Schubeck up to 13th. Chris Moses in 14th. Great race for Thomas Schubeck. Way to go, Thomas. Dan Wilkerson in P14. Poole in 15th. Calderon in 16th. Well, Ken, what do you think?
Interesting race, Jack, and having joined you for the first time here in the booth, it has been a pleasure, and I look forward to many more Thursday nights. The race was fantastic, as always. NAGP GT1 provides a lot of action, and I can certainly hope that our spectators truly enjoyed the race.
Well, I sure did. The changing conditions makes it always interesting. The extra pit stops makes it interesting, and geez, my condolences out there to Mr. Parsons. Boy, oh boy, it looked like fuel, but we'll find out afterwards, and I'm sure the chatter's going to be going on. Well, for myself, I'm Jack Ivey, and I'm along with Ken Rodriguez, and we're your GT1 broadcast team. So join us Mondays and Thursdays for action here at NAGP TV. Well, thanks for joining me, Ken. It was a pleasure.
Pleasure was all mine, Jack. Good night.
Night, folks, and we'll catch you next week.